This copyrighted telecast of the Western Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the WAC Digital Network.
Sweet home. That's what UVU is thinking after enduring an 11-game road trip. Unfortunately, the schedule doesn't soften up as the 9th-ranked BYU Cougars are down from the mountains hunting for another win against the Wolverines. You'll see that next right here on UVU TV.
You are watching UVU TV.
Full tonight. BYU has been on a tear so far this year. We'll see what UV can do at home.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and they've got some incredible players, as does UVU. Let's take a look at the UVU key players of the game.
Yeah, UVU has got a couple of stellar athletes in Lauren Bacher and Mackie Fifita. Lauren, the middle blocker, has basically wrapped up every blocking title there is for UVU and is on pace to take the hitting percentage title as well all time. Mackie can beat you pretty much anywhere on the court. So fun to watch. This girl jumps out of the gym. Keep your eye on both of them tonight.
Lauren's going to have her hands full with a BYU player who is exceptional at the outside hitting position as well.
Yeah, Alexa Gray, a senior this year, outside hitter. Probably on her way to play for the Canadian national team after this year. She has locked up many titles over at BYU as well, and you've got Amy Boswell hitting out of the middle, who's another stellar blocker at the net, very good at clogging up that inside swing. We'll see how these girls do tonight.
BYU is 10-0 all-time against UVU. If the Wolverines want to get that first win, Steve, what do they need to do?
Well, like I said, they've got their hands full, but there are a couple things that they can really pay attention to tonight. If they're strong at the net and they put up a big, solid block in front of BYU, that might get some work done. They've been struggling a little bit to find their libero. They've got to have some solid back row play, and they've got to minimize their errors. If they can pass well and stay in system, they might have a shot tonight.
We're in for a great one here at UVU. It's the 9th-ranked Cougars visiting the Wolverines of Utah Valley University. You'll see that next here on UVU TV.
You're watching UVU TV.
Welcome inside the PE building. We're underway between BYU and Utah Valley University. I'm Matthew Biamonte, joined by Steve Bale. BYU won the first point. They're back to serve again. What an atmosphere we have, though, Steve.
Yeah, it's pretty alive already. We just barely got rolling.
That's Jensen on the outside. BYU takes care of it. They'll come the other way. A little dump there, but UVU is able to take care of it. That was Mackie Fifita. And a laser from Amy Boswell.
Big swing. There's been some fun rallies back and forth already early on. The first point that BYU won went back and forth quite a few times until finally Alexa Gray goes high hands for the kill.
2-0 BYU. That's Sierra Parker on the serve. Starley setting it up. from Madison Dennison, the sophomore. Last year she was known as Madison Wolford, married over the summer to a UVU wrestling player, and she's had a nice sophomore year so far.
That was a great turn away from her body on that one to find the hardwood.
There's the serve from Lindsay Taggy. Lauren Bacher tried to block it at the net, but BYU was able to get it through.
Yeah, she was a little late, a little out of system there, unable to get that one. As we mentioned, she is a stellar blocker, owns just about every blocking title in school history.
That net matchup is going to be really interesting, Steve. Last year in Provo, BYU was better at the net. They had 28 blocks compared to UVU 6.
Wow.
That can't happen again if UVU wants to upset the 9th-ranked Cougars.
Yeah, you are not kidding. And we saw kind of a sloppy play there, not a good pass, and a double contact called on your defensive specialist, so that's not good.
That's Cozy Burnett serving for BYU.
Another shanked ball from UVU. They got to take care of the ball.
Boswell, they're going to dial up Alexa Gray, one of the all-time greats over at BYU, top 10 in kills, and she leads the team in kills this year with 137 and counting. And she hasn't even played a majority of the matches because they have been beating teams 3-0 quite a bit.
Yeah, she is a special player. I mentioned it before. Wow, that's kind of a misplayed ball there by BYU. UVU dodging a bullet. But yeah, she's probably on her way to the Canadian national team after this season. Dave Height was saying, man, I wish she had 3 more years with us. Assistant coach for BYU. Yeah, I agree.
Kiana Steiner will serve for UVU, a junior from Montana. Boswell dumps it over and finds a little pocket, and that one gets one to go for BYU.
It looked like the libero might have been on that, but was afraid of getting stepped on, so didn't go after it.
Boswell's been active offensively so far, Steve. Normally, she does her damage at the net in terms of blocking, but so far we've already seen her with a couple kills.
Yeah, she's taking care of the ball well tonight. Alexa Gray serving. Hasn't seen too many sets yet. Great pass by Mackey.
Lauren elevates, but BYU deflects and keeps it alive. The block is no good for UVU, and it drops for the Cougars.
One thing I've noticed early on from BYU is they are very greasy off the UVU block. Have great vision and able to wipe that ball off and through.
Gray back to serve for the Cougars. It's Abby Jensen. They'll go back to Jensen, but BYU takes care of it. They'll come the other way now. Boswell is so tall. She gets such a good angle. Boswell stands at 6'4", a junior from Aloha, Oregon, and she's sensational for BYU. BYU goes up 8-2.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jensen pass a ball yet, so if I'm BYU, she's getting every serve until she figures it out. That's probably why Sam called the timeout, to kind of cool everybody down and talk about it for a sec.
One thing I want to talk about, Steve, is the absence of one of UVU's all-time great players from last year, McKenna Tate, as the libero. What kind of void has she left?
Yeah, McKenna, a 4-year starter at that position. Actually, a pretty gnarly outside hitter. She just didn't keep growing. So at this level, they chose to use her in the back row, and she was phenomenal. That is, she left some big shoes to fill. And Sam told me before the match he's got a couple of liberos that are going to split time, and whoever's looking better on paper as we go through tonight is probably going to see the majority of the time tonight.
They've got 4 liberos on the roster. Lindsay Taggy, Nikisha Wilden, who is not with the team right now, Brooklyn Bodley, a freshman from Pleasant Grove, Utah. I rep Pleasant Grove. I graduated from there, so I'll give them some love. And they have a great high school program. And also Sabrina Tanner. So they've got 3 liberos here. And like you said, who is going to step up and provide that defensive spark that they need to kind of spark the offensive end as well?
That's the thing. Even though the libero is kind of just a defensive player, a lot of times that's the leader out there. You saw that with McKenna Tate and Elise Jones before her. They were so fiery when they played, and the team just followed them.
There's the serve from Alexa Grave. They're going to do a slide to Lauren Bacher, but it's blocked at the net by Amy. No, it stayed in.
Yeah, that squirted through the block there, down on BYU's side for the UVU point.
I have no excuse. I sit so close to the net. I should see these things.
Yeah, well, UVU just started throwing their hands up, so it was a pretty clear indication that they were going to get that point.
There's the serve from Abby Jensen. BYU struggling with it. They'll just hit it over. Opportunity for the Wolverines. They'll dial up Lauren. And Lauren delivers. 2 straight points out of the timeout for UVU.
That was a pretty cool play by Lauren. She could have pulled right off the net because you know that BYU was just setting that ball over, but instead went up, tried to get the block, didn't get it. Great transition and a big kill high off the hands.
Will the Wolverines keep the streak alive? And the answer comes, no, they won't. As the dig goes out of play off number 13, Kelsey Monk of UVU. You'll notice that UVU is wearing black, BYU in blue. It's a blackout for the home team. They normally wear white. Nice home crowd for the Wolverines as they trail by 5, 9-4.
Oh, Mackey's got to be a lot more aggressive than that.
Starley setting it up for Lauren. Great play from BYU to keep it alive. Oh,
what a nice
better
dig
play by Mackey. We've got ourselves a good one here. Back and forth action. Mackey.
There it is.
There it is, Mackey. Mackey for Fido.
Yeah, I didn't like that roll shot she did a second ago, but she unloaded on that ball. Big swing for the kill.
And what about that play to keep it alive as the laser came down the line and she popped it over?
I'm still trying to figure out how she dug that, with her forehead, her hand, I don't even know. Doesn't matter because it was pretty.
9-5, Lauren will serve for UVU. BYU. Block attempt by Sierra. Does not land in play, point BYU. 10-5. What do you like so far from UVU as they're hanging around?
Yeah, they're actually playing pretty aggressive, which I like. A lot of times when you come up against a team like this, again, biggest team at home ever for the Wolverines. Another big swing from Mackey. Highest ranked team ever, I believe, to enter the PE building here at UV. So a lot of times you can kind of, be a little shell-shocked, a little apprehensive, play a little tentatively. But I love how they're coming out. They're just going, both barrels blazing right now.
They've played a couple teams ranked higher on the road, but as you mentioned, this is the highest ranked volleyball team to ever play here on the campus of UVU. What a crowd we have. And that was a laser from Ronnie Jones, a freshman from West Jordan, Utah for BYU. No stopping that.
Yeah, Ronnie found a big seam in that UVU block. I don't know if Mackey went out too far or if middle blocker just didn't close, but yeah, you could have driven a truck through there.
Danelle Parody will serve for the Cougars. They lead 11-6. There's a dig from Jensen. Starley will pass it up.